who we are. You know it. It's your time to blow it. Yeah. Stay devoted. And this is how we show it.
I can do all things.
Some way, somehow.
I can do all things.
Yeah, we gon' work it out.
I can do all things.
Please, put your hands up right now.
I can do all things.
Hey, it's time to show out. I can do all things. And with my mouth I call things. Having answers on all rings. Crown full of thorns, still called king. I can't walk it through the pouring rain. Chasing purpose, I call fame. When you pass test in the door flame. Promotion now, way to sure thing.
Yo, what's up, y'all? It's your boy, Coach Daryl J. And I'm always with my beautiful wife, Coach Piangela Jones. Listen, she's not here for this episode. So you got your boy together. Listen, man, I got a special guest. This is about to be powerful. I got a special guest. But the first thing I'm going to do is, as always, we got to do the all things mission statement, and then we're going to do the scripture that all things well stand on. But yo, welcome to All Things Well, Season 2, Episode 3. Listen, y'all, we're doing something different this time. So let me do this mission statement for y'all real quick, all right? Listen, here at All Things Well, we believe in the power of God's word, the transformation of the mind, body, and soul to be influenced and empowered to do all things well. Our scripture will always be in John. It will be for all things well. I pray in all things that you prosper and do well, and that your soul prospers, and that your health prospers. You know the scripture. And that you get along well to do all things well in life, right? Your soul prospering matters. Your health prospering matters, right? And the fact that God chose John to say that to you lets you know there's no excuse. You have to care about your health and your soul. And your health comes from conversation, communication, what you're listening to, what you're eating, how you're exercising. Your soul comes from what you're listening to, communication, what you're intaking, what you're digesting, what you're reading, what you're studying, what you're doing. All this matters in your life and in your marriage and in your social circumference and in the dichotomy of your life to do all things well. Well, coming to the stage is my brother, Leon Walker Jr. And today's show is called Should Narcissists Get Married? Very interesting. I struggled with narcissism for a very long time. I might still struggle with it. I don't know. But I'm working on myself to do all things well. So I'm going to bring him to the stage right now, y'all. What's going on, my brother?
My man, Daryl, what's happening? How you doing tonight?
I am doing good, man. I've been doing this all day, man. Me and my wife been filming. We've been shooting. We're getting back to All Things Well Season 2. The first person I mentioned was a couple, and you're the second person mentioned to start this season off. I said, please get my brother Leon on the show. You was on Empowered Morning Show. Talking about narcissism, and you used to be a narcissist, and I followed you and everything. I studied you. I do want to say it's amazing before we get started with that, you don't carry yourself like a narcissist, right? When people think of narcissists, they think of this. There's this movie I watched with Robert Downey Jr. I think it was a movie where he got caught cheating with two women, right? And the way he was talking himself out of the situation. As a young man, I said, I want to be like that. I just like the way he was able to navigate. And I'll tell you the name of that movie mid-show. And the way he was talking, the way he was able to navigate through that situation, that was complete narcissism. But it looked so good.
Right, yeah.
I want to be able to talk like that. And I did used to talk like that. And then I'm going to let you talk because I ended up talking too long. I used to say something when I was young because of what I've been through. I was bullied. I was teased. I was called ugly all my life. I was beat up. I was bullied. My brother, my sister. I grew up with a very, 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 very jealous, controlling, manipulating mother. And I didn't learn about these things until I got older. Yeah. And I used to tell my cousin, I said, make sure it's their fault when you break up with them. So I was able to get into a relationship, it end, and I turn it around to be your fault so that I could skip away and say my hands aren't dirty.
Right. Right.
It's narcissism one-on-one. But
One-on-one, yeah.
I know that.
It
Talk
is.
to me about narcissism and why people may not even understand that.
Well, see, what happens is I'll always have this personality disorder,
Yeah.
but only through talk therapy was I able to realize and even care about what I was doing. When I was doing what I was doing, the cheating, the lying, the gaslighting, the ghosting,
Yeah.
the silent treatment, I couldn't care less, Daryl. It didn't bother me. There was no emotions attached to it, none. And so what happens is it starts in our childhood, our adolescent stages. And like you got bullied, talked about, beat up, left behind, kicked to the curb, doubted, gave away, pushed around, not listened to. All of that happened to me. I was bullied by older people, so I also became a bully. And so what happens is you don't forget those emotions, those feelings, those times, those things that happen. And then when you get older, like you said, you get older, you either understand it or don't understand it. You either get help or you don't get help. But what happens is you get older and you start becoming this person that you want to be to get revenge on people. And so you start lifting weights, you start running, you get your hair done up, cleaned up, you get your teeth fixed, whatever, but you fixing the outside, not fixing the inside. I wasn't concerned about my heart. I felt good about being heartless. I felt good about hurting women. And so that was my thing. And so I too have the traits, a lot of them, you have the traits that I have. My sister seems to think, my sister's a social worker. She seems to think that my mother was narcissistic, and I believe her. So a lot of my traits come from my mother's side. And so you had that manipulative, narcissistic mom too in your life. You were also bullied and talked about and put down and all those things. So you would ultimately become a narcissist. You wouldn't become an empath because you have so much vindication in you and you want to get revenge. You start hurting people last night. You start cheating. You start lying. You start manipulating. You start doing the same thing that your mother did to you. And I did that too.
Yeah, I would say, not talking to you. This is like therapy. When I was growing up, as I became a teenager, I started to create identities.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I was always good. All I ever wanted to do was create nicknames for myself. When I was 8 years old, remember, I started getting bullied at 5 and 6. Right? I went to this daycare and I was very sick. So I had asthma. And I lived in the hospital to the point where when I went to the hospital, everybody knew my name.
Mm-hmm.
I always wanted to be famous. I like hearing my name. So when I went to the hospital, they would say Daryl Jones. I just like the way that sounds, Daryl Jones, right? I was one of those kids that walked around. I come home with the IV. I had to take breathing treatments. I was real sickly. I had scaly skin, very big black dark circles under my eye.
Yeah, you
for
went
a
through
long
a lot.
time.
Yeah,
Huh?
you went through a lot, bro.
Yes. So from the door, I was always sick. And my brother and sister were able to form a relationship because I was born in prison. So I didn't really live with them. I met them before, but I didn't live with them till my mother came home in 1984. I was 5 years old. And they always had this relationship without me. And they never treated me like the brother I should have been. But then when I go back in my mind, they had to take care of me. I was sick. Right. So it was all about me. They missed Disney World because of me. They had to watch me. My sickness played a major role. Everything I did. This is not what no child wants.
Right.
I was famous for being sick.
Right. And so what you just said is not what a child wants. And things are being imposed on you when you're a kid. And what happens, you can't do nothing about it. And also what happens when you can do something about it, you become a monster. But go ahead.
Without knowing, so because of being bullied at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I start to desire to want to be famous. It starts with graffiti. I start tagging on the walls. My name was Slick D. I like the way that looked. Right. Now it's me and my cousins and everybody's tagging. But if I could be a fly on a wall, there was more. I was serious about this, y'all. Like I was willing to go to depths to get my names called being Fame, Stupid Mad Fame. I was down with a crew called SMF. But my grandmother used to call me the devil. I can't make this stuff up, and it wasn't supposed to be about me, so it was supposed to be us. So we just go talk about what we just do.
No, you're good, because I was called the devil too.
Yeah, the devil.
I didn't even know it. My father's friend, he called me Diablo. I didn't even know what it meant until years later. It was Spanish for devil. So yeah, I got you. I follow you.
Devil. My grandmother was the matriarch of the family. Moore, her name was Moore. Rest in peace. When nobody was looking, we all were bad. She would call me devil, you ugly buck tooth. And I swear to God, I can't make this up. I'll be looking at this woman who's like 80 years old. And she doesn't do this to nobody else. I cannot make this up. I'll never forget the house. I grew up in 180, apartment 1E, 126th Street, apartment 1E, 320, St. Nicholas building. She would call me the devil. So then I would go home, and I ain't really get along with my brother. My brother was mean. He stuttered. He beat me up, crazy stuff. And I had to create a name called Slick D. We all had names, but I was creating names to get past the identity.
Right.
Slick was slick. Right? Then I got older. Then I started rapping. Then I became Awesome Mega. And I was always trying to create crews, give people identities. Like, this is your nickname. Because I needed a nickname to get past who I really was, because Daryl wasn't respected.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So what do you think? Do narcissists ever recover? Is there any help for a narcissist?
Yeah. Well, what happens is what happened to you and what happened to me, you start to like Slick. You start to love Slick. And you started building crews. So you know what happens? You don't want to let that go. Because if you let it go, now you're back to Daryl, who got beat up and was bucktooth and ugly and had scaly skin. So you're like, so what happens is we go through life becoming this person that we created, and it feels good. You tagging, you got a crew, people like Slick, and don't call me Daryl, because that's a reminder of who little Daryl was, get beat up and bullied. So they go through life becoming this person, and then ultimately rising up as this person. Winning, tagging more, me being successful in the Navy, being Sailor of the Year, Recruit of the Year, getting promoted, getting awarded, getting rewarded, making $120,000. Do you really think I'm gonna give this up to go back to Leon? No, that ain't gonna happen. So they never, and during that course, that transition, I'm getting all these women, I'm getting all this attention. You really think I'm gonna give that up? So that's why most of them will never change, don't want to change, because they're still getting what they want from the person that they created, and it made people come into their life, want to be around them. It made women want to talk to me, want to like me. It made people want me to be their mentor. But deep down inside, I was that broken kid. I was afraid to go back to being Leon.
Yeah.
And so I started things when you the way that I was, things don't always go good your way. They don't always go well. You get sick, you get tired. You might have a car accident. Karma starts to happen to you, because in the midst of my becoming who I became, I was still mistreating people. I was still lying. I was still cheating. I was still deceiving. And I became Master Chief Leon Walker instead of Leon. You became Slick instead of Daryl. But what happens is you might start tagging and getting caught, going to jail, going to juvenile, getting into fights, getting your tooth knocked out, your friend getting stumped out, getting killed, all kind of stuff. And you're like, well, man. And so you eventually got it right. I eventually got it right, but it took me a long time because I destroyed my marriage. So I didn't volunteer to go through therapy. I was sent, it was part of my retirement physical from the Navy. The last person I had to see was a psychiatrist, and I had been seeing him off and on for years. And so I said, you know what, let me try to do something different. Because now I'm at the end of my career, and there's no more fanfare, there's nobody's cheering for me, no more promotions, no more rewards, no more medals. So I'm like in darkness by myself. So I'm like, I'm scared now. Now I want people to help me. Now I want some help. Now I want to be nice. Now I want to do good deeds. But it wasn't too late. It wasn't too late. I thought it was going to be too late. So I said, let me try to get some therapy and see how this works out and start changing my behavior. So that's what I started doing.
Wow.
So you can get help, but you have to get over all of the excitement. You have to get over all of the people kissing your butt. You have to get over that. But it takes a long time because that feels good, girl. It feels good.
Yeah.
And then
this is therapy, bro.
Mm-hmm.
This is not what I expected, Mr. Walker Leon. But this is not what I expected. But things hit the fan of my life when I created Hollywood.
So that's a whole nother person, right? And so then you go from Duro to Slick. Now it's Hollywood. Now you got to be
Hollywood.
Hollywood.
And I lived a life of a Hollywood actor, even though I was in no films. I attempted suicide twice.
Right?
I did so much drugs. And I tell people this because I didn't really want to stop the drugs.
That's
I
what I
liked
said.
it.
See, when your drugs was like, see, my drug was the promotions, the awards, the leadership, the people kiss my butt, people follow me. Your drug was the real drug. So I had an addiction to a type of drug that was euphoric for me. It was still euphoric. I was still getting high, just like you. Your drug was actually probably
cocaine.
Okay.
Cocaine and Molly. I did it every weekend for 10 years straight. Was some days I did it all week. But I was consistent for 10 years straight. Then when I got that job at Abercrombie and Fitch, that was it.
Really?
Once those white people said, you are, because remember now, when I was like 19, dog, I dressed like, black people, black culture. This is 1999, 2000. It was either 99 or 2001. I worked at a place called Structure, which is Express now.
That was a good store. Structure was nice.
So I came in there and I'm wearing like Echo and all this stuff, Timberlands. And she pulled me to the side and said, you shouldn't dress like that. So I was wearing this tight clothes back when people wasn't wearing tight clothes.
Right.
This is like when Fabulous was dominating the charts and Dipset.
Right.
So I got a job at Abercrombie and Fitch. And the white girls and the Zoe Kravitz. That's a different type of black woman. You know what those are.
Totally different. Women. I get you, but they're totally I call them granola girls. But I got you.
Yeah. They're black, but they like something different. And if you're different, you can get through. And they look good, right? They are very attractive.
Yeah.
So my baby mother, who was a black cultured woman, didn't like the way I dressed. But a woman that looked like Zoe Kravitz did. Who you think I'm rocking with? Come on now. And I found my niche, and I lost my mind, dog. If I could really go back from 2002 to 2012, right? 11, right before I met my wife, I lost my mind, dog. And I believe God gave me some of those prayers because I became famous in my mind. Had all the drugs and everything going. I attempted suicide twice, right? The way I was operating, I was able to do things while doing all these drugs, but I ruined all my friends' lives, man.
Because
they never got over it.
Right. What happened to me recently was that, so this is what you dealt with too, but you don't, when I tell you that, you're going to be like, God, people that you hurt and people that you forgot that you hurt because they didn't align with your image.
Yeah.
So narcissistic people, I'm telling this the story because I just found this out today about me. I was at home a week ago and my sister was like, do you remember sleeping with Tanya? Tanya's a girl I met from New York. She's from the Bronx. She lives in Cleveland. And I was like, I don't remember sleeping with her. But I slept with her, Daryl, for the summer of 1992, 1993. But I don't remember sleeping with her. And I had to look it up and talk to one of my friends who's a psychologist. And she said she didn't align with your image. So I don't remember sleeping with her, but I did sleep with her. When you hurt people, when you was pushing through, using people, taking drugs, getting drugs, whatever you were doing, the people that you hurt, your friends, a lot of times you go, I don't remember doing that, only because they didn't align with your image, but you used them for something. Then you may have used them to get the drugs, to buy the drug, whatever it was. And then once you got what you wanted, they became a distant memory. Tanya became a distant memory. I talked to her recently, but I don't remember sleeping with her. And we slept together a lot, but I don't, because she didn't align with my image. My image at the time was a womanizer, was a player, was a hustler. I was a Navy recruit in Cleveland, wore my uniform, had head full of hair, rings on, jewelry smelling good. If you didn't align with my image, you're going to be a one-night stand, a real one-night stand, and that's it. I don't remember anything after that one-night stand. And you dealt with that too, but you just didn't know what it was called. I didn't even know what it was called. But if they don't align with your image, then you're going to forget about them. They don't exist. And that's why women go, Leon, you don't remember that you hurt my feelings, or you don't remember saying this? I'm like, I don't remember, because at the time she didn't align with my image. She didn't mean anything to Leon. If you don't mean anything to Leon, I'm gonna have sex with you and you're gone. And I really don't remember having sex with Tanya, but I did.
Wow. Dog,
And so at that time, Daryl, yeah, and at that time in therapy, it's time to forgive and reach out and say you are sorry if you really, truly genuine about changing. We're working on your behavior. So I had to reach out and apologize to people. I was scared, like, I don't know what they're gonna say. I was concerned, and my therapist was like, "You just got to do it," because I caused the hurt and pain in their life. But then I forgot about it because they didn't align with my image, and that was my fault.
Wow.
So I used them and I abused them, and you probably did it. You could have done something to your wife when you first met her, and you don't remember. But it's like
I said terrible things. That image thing is very serious because, you know, I was a black guy that had street friends. And even though these guys didn't really like me like that and they mistreated me when I was young, as I got older, I felt like I had an advantage over them. I wanted them to be somebody we would never would have been, right? Like I put pressure on them to be like Gossip Girl. Like I'm a black man in New Jersey. I don't live in Greenwich Village, right? I'm dressed. I'm acting like I'm in Greenwich Village because this is a defense mechanism because I didn't fit into culture.
But then when you started fitting in, you started getting people back. You wanted revenge. I'm following you.
There you go. Say it. Yes, it did. Yes, it is.
Yeah, and then you
At
created
the
not
time
only
you wanted to be cool, yeah, I didn't like you no more.
right, but see, right, you not only created somebody that you wanted to be, you created a whole team of people. But what you did, Daryl, also is you made a bunch of Durals. You made a bunch of people that were, but you were in charge of your crew. I'm sure you had to be. So you created people that were like-minded, that were just like you. They're going to do what you say, get what you want, just like that. And so that was that Hollywood mindset. So I get it. I've been there, bro. But in doing that, when you create a bunch of Durals, like I create a bunch of Leons, we use them and we, you know what? We use them and we abuse them. I didn't even know that I was abused until I was 46 years old. I had no idea that as a child I was abused until I was in therapy. And so if you don't know what happened to you, you're doing it to other people, but you don't see it as abuse. You're like, that ain't abuse, blah, 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 blah. Just, do what the hell I tell you, But it's abuse. It's verbal abuse. It's mental abuse. But you don't see it as that because when it happened to you, they created Daryl, then you created Slick, then you created Hollywood. So everybody before that don't matter. They're a distant memory, which they didn't align with your image. So if they don't align with your image, you're gonna get chewed up and spit out, or you're gonna walk with me and do what I tell you,
Wow, yeah. So, what's two things a narcissist could do right now to recognize that they're a narcissist and make the path to change? Because because this is murder. It's murder out there, right? Because I was studying narcissist and psychopath. And I remember my wife saying things like, baby, you're a psychopath. And I remember being so angry. This thing, I'm not going to talk about it here, but there's things that I thought about that she would say, that's really crazy. And I would say, nah, it's really not that bad, but it really was bad because of the, I gotta be above what I'm very grandiose in my mind.
Yeah.
I can't go back to Dirty Daryl.
Right.
I can never go back to Dirty Daryl.
No.
I don't want to go back to Dirty Daryl. I pray I never go back to Dirty Daryl because that was a very, 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 very tough line in my life. But then I love Christ. And loving Christ, you got to strip down.
Yeah.
So I've been through some very ugly situations in therapy and stripping down. I have to strip down with my wife to the point of humility all the way down and relive things. I hate that. I do not like to be, I'm tired of it because I've been doing it all my life. So what are some things that a narcissist could do, two things that they could do right now to start to make that change before they hurt people more?
Everything you just said, you have to have that moment where you tired. I didn't get tired, Daryl, until I was 46. And even at 46, I wasn't sure that I was tired. I didn't realize I was tired until I went into therapy and started allowing a woman to talk to me. and tell me what my issues were. Before her, there was not a woman in this world. I was married for 12 years. My wife couldn't tell me anything, and I didn't tell her anything, and I liked not telling her anything. So she didn't have a clue of who she was with. She knew, but she didn't know. So what I would tell people right now is to say, you know what? Realize, what are you doing to yourself? What are you doing to your friends? What are you doing to your children? I was verbally abusive to my kids too. And now I got to face them because they're getting older and they remember what I said to them, what I did to them. So you got to get to a point where most narcissists don't want to do it, is to be willing to change, to work on yourself, to be tired, and to not be the person that you are. You have to be willing to humble yourself. And so in humbling yourself, what happens is narcissistic people feel like they're gonna lose who they built up. So you lost Duro, but then you gained Slick, then you gained Hollywood, then you had to give up Hollywood and Slick, and it was like that was a humbling moment. If you didn't give up Hollywood and Slick, you wouldn't have your wife right now.
I ain't giving up right away though. No. I went to Slim Diesel. I went to Slim Diesel. I went to Slim Diesel. I don't like that. I went to Slim Diesel. I got clean. I started doing clean hip hop. I went to Slim Diesel. I think I went to somebody else. And it's just, my greatest struggle, and I'm gonna be honest with you, and I would say this, and my wife told me this, my greatest struggle is when somebody actually likes me, I don't like them.
You know why? Because now you have to put in some work to give to them what they're giving to you. I don't know what your wife did or how she did it, but she got you to do it. She did it. But sometimes it's like,
years.
Yeah.
When I see you humble and you like me, I do not like you.
Yeah.
Because when I was growing up and I was humble and I was there dangling, nobody liked me. So a lot of times when people are just, this is all I got, Daryl, I do not like you.
And see,
this is all I got.
You don't have you have a problem with trusting people too, because it's like you don't know what their agenda is. And like I say, I applaud your wife, man, because she did whatever she's able to do to get you to be who you became. And you're not Slick Diesel, you're not Hollywood, you're not Slick anymore, But it takes some time. Then you have to want. I tell women now, age 22 to 46, there was no change in me. I wasn't even thinking about. I didn't think that I needed to change. I didn't think there was anything wrong with me. I was very cocky. I was very egocentric. I was very self-centered. I was very conceited, and I was winning in the military. So why should I do anything other than what I'm doing now? If every time I do something, I win, but I wasn't winning in relationships. But I never connected to that, so I didn't want to say, you know what? All right, let me work on this. I ain't got nothing to work on. I'm the better person in this relationship. I'm better than you. I'm better than you. Y'all need to go work on yourself to get to be who I am. But I was wrong, bro. But you couldn't tell me that. Age 22 to 46, and I was constantly winning to prevent myself from going back to that little kid, that mindset of being weak, being bullied, being stupid, being dirty, having bad habits. I had to cover that up, but I wasn't fixing it at all. I wasn't fixing it mentally or emotionally or even spiritually. So I was just going through life, just enjoying what I wanted to enjoy, and didn't care who got hurt in my path. Hence, you don't align with my image. So I forgot a lot of things that I did to people.
Listen, brother, we're going to do episode 2. Please stay there. We got to end this for now. This is like deep. My wife's going to be in the next episode. I didn't expect the episode to go like this, but I'm glad it did, because this is what men want, especially black men, because narcissism is something that you can't see. But now, after talking to you, you maybe go back in my childhood. I used to say some crazy things to people to protect yourself. And they didn't go through what I went through. I'm trying to protect them, and they're looking at me like, dog, I didn't go through all of that. Like this, I went through a lot to protect me because I was hurting. And I would say the whole Hollywood era, I wasn't happy. And being with my wife and being with Christ, she let me realize, like, you weren't happy, man. You were angry on the inside. I used my anger in violence. I use it in different ways, trip ups and walkaways and coldness and victimization and working on myself physically and mentally to become better than the friends that I had that chose to oppress me when they were up. But listen, we got to end this. Leon, don't go anywhere. I'm going to end this, and we're going to do episode 2, the second part, and we're going to get into this with my wife, all right?
I got you, brother. I'll be right here.
All right.
Okay.
This is who we are. This is who we are. You know it. It's your time to blow it. Yeah. Stay devoted. And this is how we show it.